In 1985, two young British climbers, Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, set out to conquer the unclimbed west face of Siula Grande, a 21,000-foot peak in the Peruvian Andes. Both were talented, fast, and confident, exactly the type of climbers willing to attempt a route so dangerous that no one had ever touched it. They climbed alpine style, meaning no fixed ropes, no camps, no backup. One push up, one push down. If anything went wrong, there was no rescue, no help, only the mountain. To everyone's surprise, the ascent went well, difficult, exhausting, and technical, but successful. After days of climbing through storms and walls of ice, they reached the summit. Joe later said he felt invincible. But on the way down, everything changed. Only a few hundred feet from safety on the descents, Joe slipped while walking down an ice slope. His leg snapped. The tibia drove straight through the knee joint. A catastrophic injury. High on a frozen mountain. No helicopter. No rescue team. No hope. But Simon refused to leave him behind. He tied Joe to a rope and began lowering him down the mountain, one rope length at a time, each time anchoring himself into the ice. It was slow, brutal work. Joe was in agony, drifting in and out of consciousness. But Simon kept going. Then disaster struck again. As Simon lowered Joe through a whiteout storm, Joe slid unknowingly over a sheer cliff and was left hanging. Simon, unable to see or hear anything, felt only the sudden, violent pull of the rope. He planted his axe, bracing with everything he had, while the storm buried them. Minutes passed, then nearly an hour. Simon was being dragged toward the cliff edge. Then he realized the truth. If he didn't cut the rope, both of them would die. With frozen hands and a breaking heart, Simon made the decision no climber ever wants to make. He cut the rope. Joe plunged into a hidden crevasse. Simon spent the night convinced his friend was dead. But Joe was alive, deep inside a pitch-black void. His legs shattered, alone and freezing. What followed has been called one of the greatest survival sequences ever recorded. Joe crawled out of the crevasse, then began an impossible journey. 3 days of dragging himself across ice fields, rocks, and glacier with no food or water. Hallucinating, screaming, refusing to quit. By the 3rd day, he was skeletal, dehydrated, and barely conscious. But he kept crawling. In the middle of the night, Simon, who had already packed to leave, heard something faint.
Simon,
Barely a whisper. He ran toward the sound and found Joe. Sunken eyes, frost-bitten lips, skin torn, leg destroyed, lying outside the tent. Against all odds, Joe Simpson survived. Their story later became the best-selling book and award-winning film, Touching the Void, known worldwide as one of the most intense, emotional, and unbelievable true survival stories ever told. It is a story of loyalty, impossible decisions, raw human will, and the thin, fragile line between life and death on a mountain that almost became their grave. If you are not following this page, you might never see us again. But if you are, congratulations. You are learning something new every day.